Not everyone has a voice in their head. Some people read this sentence in silence. No narrator, no tone, nothing. And most of them have no idea they are unusual, because nobody ever thinks to ask. If you do have one, it is speaking right now. It has your voice, it has your accent. It can shout without making a sound. Here is the part that should unsettle you slightly. That voice is not thought. It is a body movement. One your brain builds, then cancels, then listens to as if someone else had spoken. Let's take it apart, starting with where it came from, because you were not born with it. Watch a 3-year-old playing alone. She narrates constantly. The blue one goes here. No, not there. Now the dog is sleeping. It's not performance. There is nobody in the room. She is thinking out loud, at full volume. Lev Vygotsky, working in Moscow in the 1920s and 30s, noticed that this private speech does not simply disappear as children grow. It shrinks. It gets quieter. Then it gets fragmentary. Then it drops below the threshold of hearing, and it goes on inside. He called it internalization, and he made a claim that still sounds radical. Your inner voice is not something you invented privately. It is a conversation you had with other people, folded inwards, which means the voice in your head has an origin. It started as your parents talking to you. Then it became you talking to yourself out loud. Then it went underground. Vygotsky predicted something testable. If inner speech is externalized speech that went quiet, then difficulty should push it back out, and it does. Watch anyone lost in a hard task, assembling furniture, hunting for keys, driving somewhere unfamiliar, and listen. Right, so the screw goes in first. Where did I put them? Adults do not grow out of talking to themselves, they just do it under their breath until the task gets hard enough. Now the physical part. In the 1950s and 60s, researchers including Ake Edfeldt and Frank McGuigan attached electrodes to the throats of people who were reading silently or thinking to themselves. The muscles of the larynx, the tongue, the lips, the entire speech apparatus showed measurable activity. Tiny, far too small to make a sound, but there. Your inner voice is not a metaphor about sound. It is speech that gets almost all the way to being spoken and is stopped at the last moment. That is called subvocalization, and you can feel it right now. Say a long word in your head, something like refrigerator. Pay attention to your tongue and jaw while you do it. Most people notice a faint shadow of movement, the intention to speak, arriving without the speech. Subvocalization also puts a hard ceiling on something you may have tried to break. Every speed reading course ever sold promises to get you past the voice, because as long as you are silently pronouncing the words, you are stuck at roughly the pace of speech, around 300 words a minute. Push much beyond it and comprehension collapses, because you are no longer reading, you are skimming and filling in the gaps. The voice is the bottleneck. It is also, awkwardly, most of what you mean by reading. But here is the deeper question, and it is the one that took another 50 years to answer. If your inner voice is just muscles almost moving, why does it sound like anything at all? Why do you hear it? The answer is a mechanism called corollary-discharge, and it is one of the most elegant tricks in the brain. Every time your brain issues a motor command, move your arm, blink, speak, it sends a copy of that command to your sensory systems in advance. A prediction. This is what you are about to experience, and I caused it. That prediction is used to cancel out the incoming sensation, which is why your own touch feels duller than someone else's, and why you cannot tickle yourself. Speech works the same way. When you talk out loud, your auditory cortex receives a copy of the command, a fraction of a second before the sound arrives, and it damps down its own response. Your voice from the inside is quieter than it should be, because your brain already knew it was coming. Sophie Scott and others have shown that this prediction system is still running when you speak silently. The motor command goes out, gets suppressed before it reaches the muscles fully, but the copy is still sent to the auditory system. Your hearing receives a forecast of a sound that never happens, and you experience that forecast as a voice. That is what the thing in your head actually is. Not a sound, a prediction of a sound, generated by a speech command you did not complete, which leads somewhere unexpected. If your brain can generate the experience of a voice without any sound, then the difference between inner speech and hearing a voice that is not there might be nothing more than a broken tag. The signal is the same. What changes is whether it is labeled, "I made this." Chris Frith built exactly this account of auditory hallucination in schizophrenia, a failure of the self-monitoring system, so that internally generated speech arrives without its authorship label and is experienced as external. Support comes from a peculiar finding. During auditory hallucinations, the speech muscles of the throat often show the same subvocal activity as ordinary inner speech. The person is, in a very real sense, silently talking. They just do not recognize the speaker. Your inner voice is safe because it comes stamped with your name. That stamp is doing more work than you have ever given it credit for. Now, how much of your day does this voice actually occupy? Almost everyone asked directly says something like, most of it, Constantly, all the time. Russell Hurlburt spent decades checking. His method, descriptive experience sampling, is deliberately awkward. Participants wear a beeper that goes off at random, and the instant it sounds, they write down what was in their awareness in the moment immediately before. Not what they usually experience, what was there right then. The results are consistent and humbling. Inner speech shows up in roughly a quarter of samples, sometimes less. The rest is images, bodily feelings, wordless understanding, or a kind of unsymbolized thinking that has no words or pictures in it at all. You are not narrating your life, you are remembering it as narrated. Because the moments you happen to check are, almost by definition, moments when you turned the voice on to check. And then there are the people who do not have one. The condition now has a name, enendophasia, coined in 2024 by Johanne Nedergaard and Gary Lupyan. Some proportion of the population reports no inner voice whatsoever, not a quiet one, none. They think in pictures, in spatial relationships, in feelings that resolve straight into decisions. Nedergaard and Lupyan tested whether it matters. On most tasks, it does not. People without inner speech reason, plan, and remember perfectly well. But on tasks that lean specifically on holding words in sequence, like recalling a list of rhyming words in order, they performed measurably worse. The voice is not thinking. It is a tool for a particular kind of thinking, and some people have built the same house without it. Charles Fernyhough argues that inner speech kept the most important feature of the conversations it came from. It is dialogic. It has more than one part. It asks and answers. It criticizes and defends. That is why you can argue with yourself and genuinely not know how it will come out, and why rehearsing a difficult conversation in your head works. You are running the other person on borrowed machinery. The voice in your head is not you thinking. It is you holding a meeting with everyone who ever taught you how to speak. And because it is a conversation, the grammar you use inside it changes what it can do. Ethan Kross has spent years on a detail most people have never noticed: which word you use for yourself. Most inner speech runs in the first person. I can't do this. I'm going to embarrass myself. Kross found that when people switch to their own name or to you, right, you've done this before, you know how it goes, their performance under pressure improves, their anxiety drops, and they reason about their own situation more like they would about a friend's. He calls it distant self-talk, and it works because that tiny grammatical step pulls you out of the immersed position and into the advising one. It is the difference between being inside the problem and standing next to it. Children do a version of this spontaneously. Told to work as if they were a favorite character, they persist noticeably longer at a boring task. The researchers named it the Batman effect. Same voice, same throat, one pronoun of distance, and it becomes a different tool. So listen to it now, in the middle of this sentence, and notice what it actually is. A movement your throat almost made, a sound your brain predicted and then supplied. A habit you built out of other people's voices before you were 4 years old. Not everyone has a voice in their head, and the ones who do have never once met the person speaking.